In this video, what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to convert between scientific and standard notation. Now, if you notice all of these problems on the left-hand side, all of these numbers are already in standard notation. And so what we're going to be doing is converting them into scientific notation. In order to do that, the number that goes out in front of the power of 10 has to be between 1 and 10. So for here, I'm going to show you just an example. I'm going to move this decimal place until it's between 1 and 10. So I'm going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4 places. And so my number in scientific notation is going to be 8.57 times 10. Now I moved it 4 places, but I moved it 4 places to the right to make a small number larger. Therefore, it's going to be to the negative 4th. For the next problem here, I took 9,000 and I need to make it smaller. So I'm going to move my decimal place over 1, 2, 3 places. So I have 9.84. It can be 840 if you want it to be. Times 10. Now I made a large number smaller, so it's going to be 10 to the positive third. For the next problem, I have 340. Now I need to move the decimal place over 2 places to make this between 1 and 10, so 3.40 or just 3.4 for right now, times 10. Now I made a large number smaller, so it's going to be positive 0. Okay? And for the last one, I've got 0.01, so I need to move my decimal place over 2 places, and so this value is going to be 1 times 10. Now I made a small number larger, so it's going to be to the negative second. Now if you notice, if I compare this value and this value in standard notation and scientific notation, these are the same number, they're just written differently. They have the same value. So please, when we're in class, don't say, oh, Miss Polliner, if I wrote 9.84 times 10 to the third, is that the same thing as 9,840? Well, it's not exactly the same. It's just you wrote it in scientific notation and this is in standard notation. So it's perfectly fine either way. The reason why we use scientific notation is because it ends up forcing us to write less if we have a very large or a very small number. Now for these problems, I am in scientific notation and I want to get into standard notation. So I have 9.56, I'm going to write it over here so I can expand this, and times 10 to the 5th, which tells me I'm going to move my decimal place 5 places. However, since it's positive, I want to make my number larger. And to do that, I'm going to move this decimal place to the right. So I'm going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. And here I need to place zeros to hold the spots. So my final answer here in standard notation is going to be 956,000. So this is standard notation, this is it in scientific notation. They are the same number even though they're written slightly differently. For this problem, I'm going to write the 6.23 over here. I need to move my decimal place over 4 places. However, since it's a negative, I need to move to the left to make the number smaller. So I'm going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4 places. I'm going to put the decimal here, and to fill this in, I got to put zeros again. So I've got 3 zeros. So in standard notation, this answer is 0.000623. So the next problem, I need to move my decimal place only 2 places. Since I want to make it larger, because this is positive, I'm going to move it over 1, 2 to the right. Therefore, it's going to be 1, 1, 0 in standard notation. For the last one, I need to move this over 8 places. Because it's positive, this is going to go to the right again. And so I'm going to move it over 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, it might get to the point where you're like, what, do I really have to do this? No. Recognize the fact that you just need to move it over once, and then after that, it's just going to be 0. So I'm going to have a total of 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to put in my commas to make this more manageable. So I have 330 million. So notice that this number is much more manageable than this. You have to write way less to write this in scientific notation than this one. However, they're still the same number. And that's it.